You know that moment when you're scrolling through your phone and you come across a news headline that makes your heart sink? Maybe it's a report of a natural disaster, a tragic accident, or a shocking crime. You feel a surge of anxiety, and before you know it, you're reading the entire article, and then another, and another. But have you ever stopped to wonder, why do we seem to be drawn to negative news in the first place? This phenomenon is known as the negativity bias. According to researchers Kahneman and Tversky, 1979, humans have an inherent tendency to focus more on negative than positive stimuli. This bias is linked to the brain's threat response system, which prioritizes potential dangers. In fact, studies have found that negative news can be more engaging and memorable than positive news. Bruns, 2017. So, why do we seem to be more drawn to negative news? One reason is that our brains are wired to respond more strongly to negative stimuli. Psychologist Robert Cialdini notes that we tend to focus more on criticism than praise. Cialdini, 2009. This is because negative information can be more informative and attention-grabbing. For example, a study published in the journal Emotion found that people tend to remember negative events better than positive ones. Walker et al., 2003. But what about the impact of negative news on our well-being? Exposure to negative news can lead to increased anxiety and decreased well-being. Bowler, 2008. In fact, a survey conducted by the Pew Research Center in 2019 found that 55% of adults in the U.S. say they often or always feel overwhelmed by the amount of negative news they see or hear. This can have serious consequences, especially for people who are already prone to anxiety or depression. Social media has also played a significant role in amplifying negative news and emotions. Research has shown that platforms like Twitter can amplify negative news and emotions. Bostrom and Coring, 2014. This can create a snowball effect, where negative news spreads quickly and widely, often without being balanced by positive news. The consequences of our negativity bias can be far-reaching. For instance, it can affect our perception of reality, making us believe that the world is a more dangerous and unpleasant place than it actually is. This, in turn, can influence our behavior, causing us to become more cautious and risk-averse. Moreover, a diet of constant negative news can lead to compassion fatigue, making us less empathetic and less willing to help others. But here's the thing. Our brains are not just passive recipients of information. We have the power to choose what we consume and how we respond to it. By being more aware of our negativity bias and making a conscious effort to seek out positive news and information, we can begin to shift our focus towards a more balanced view of the world. One of the most effective ways to combat negativity bias is to focus on positivity. This involves seeking out positive and uplifting experiences, such as spending time with loved ones, engaging in hobbies, or practicing gratitude. By doing so, we can begin to shift our focus towards a more balanced view of the world. Research has shown that positive experiences can actually rewire our brains, making us more resilient to negative stimuli. For example, a study published in the Journal of Positive Psychology found that people who practice gratitude on a daily basis experienced increased feelings of well-being and life satisfaction. In today's digital age, it's more important than ever to be critical of the information we consume. This involves recognizing biases and agendas and seeking out diverse perspectives. By doing so, we can begin to develop a more nuanced and balanced view of the world. Media literacy is not just about being critical of the news. It's also about being aware of our own biases and assumptions. For example, a study published in the Journal of Communication found that people who were more media literate were less likely to be influenced by misinformation. When we're exposed to a constant stream of negative news, it's easy to feel hopeless and powerless. However, by cultivating a sense of hope and agency, we can begin to see that we have the power to create positive change in the world. This involves recognizing that we are not passive recipients of information, but rather active participants in shaping our own lives and communities. For example, a study published in the Journal of Positive Psychology found that people who had a sense of hope and agency were more likely to engage in positive actions and make a difference in their communities. Negativity bias is rooted in the brain's threat response system, which prioritizes potential dangers. This is linked to the amygdala, responsible for processing emotions. The amygdala is more sensitive to negative stimuli, leading to a heightened response to threats. For example, imagine walking through a forest and hearing a rustling in the bushes. Your brain immediately assumes it's a predator, and you respond accordingly. This is an adaptive response that helped our ancestors survive. However, in today's world, this response can be triggered by non-life-threatening stimuli, such as negative news or social media posts. Emotional contagion is a phenomenon where we unconsciously catch and reflect the emotions of others. This can lead to increased stress and anxiety. For instance, have you ever found yourself feeling down after spending time with someone who's constantly complaining or negative? A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people who were more empathetic were more susceptible to emotional contagion. This highlights the importance of developing emotional intelligence and learning to manage our own emotions. The spread of misinformation is a significant consequence of negativity bias. When sensationalized or false information is presented in a negative light, it's more likely to be shared and believed. For example, a study published in the Journal of Experimental Psychology found that people were more likely to share fake news that was presented in a negative light. This highlights the importance of critical thinking and media literacy in combating misinformation. Emotional labeling is a simple yet powerful technique for managing our emotions. By acknowledging and labeling our emotions, we can begin to detach from them and gain some perspective. This can be especially useful when we're exposed to negative news or emotions on social media. By taking a moment to label our emotions, we can prevent ourselves from getting caught up in a cycle of anxiety or stress. Media fasting involves taking a break from social media or news sources for a period of time. This can be a useful strategy for resetting our emotional state and gaining some perspective. By giving our brains a break from the constant stream of information, we can begin to feel more calm, centered, and focused. So what can we do about it? First, we need to be more mindful of our news consumption and make an effort to seek out positive and balanced news sources. Second, we need to engage in activities that promote positivity and well-being, such as exercise, meditation, or spending time with loved ones. And finally, we need to have open and honest conversations about the impact of negative news on our lives and how we can work together to create a more positive and supportive community. Thanks for watching. If you want to learn more about the negativity bias and how to overcome it, be sure to check out the links in the description below. And if you have any thoughts or experiences to share, please leave them in the comments.